Hello everyone, this is a walkthrough of the new PTO Tracking add-on and feature in PI. As you can see, the PTO feature in PI is going to piggyback on the PTO calendar and also time entries in the system. So you'll see as I walk through that each day that you enter in as a PTO or non-working day, then it will then generate a time entry which goes through your normal time entry um, timesheet approval process. So let's go ahead and add a day, a PTO day for Monday the 29th. And um, this page right here is the same page that you go to for your PTO calendar. So anyone can come to edit their own PTO schedule. So if you come in here and I choose the 29th, then um, I can also double click on it to bring up what how many hours I'm putting on as PTO. If it's a full day in my system right now, I have 7 hours set for a full day. So if I have a full day, then I'll just leave it as 7, or I can also make it a half day if I want to. You also see that there is a type that is automatically selected in for what category this PTO is. So using this new feature, we can actually specify time codes to be PTO entries, and you can actually specify if this is PTO vacation or holiday or whatever you want to categorize your PTO entries. You can also just have one, so that sets it only. You can also put a description in for each entry. Like I said, these get mapped to be created as time entries, so this is basically your time entry description. So now I've updated it. If I go over to my PTO details, this is going to show me all of the time entries, PTO entries that I've entered. You can see that's the 29th, and you see it accrued that 7, or it took out those 7 hours, and there's my time entry description. It also clocked it using the vacation PTO code, which I chose when I was entering that time. So not only does that PTO entry create a time entry log for myself, but it also, on my PTO calendar, it also logs that as if you're using that to block out your schedule, it also block out the schedule for that 29th for yourself. So you'll see up here that the PTO balance is actually going to show you how many hours were taken off. So it's going to add up this total right here of PTO hours that you've taken, and it's going to take that off. If you are using the accrual part in the system, so you'll see down here you can actually start accruing time. We have some rules in our settings that I'll show you in a minute where you can actually start accruing PTO to your own profile as well. So if you have maybe a 10-hour a month accrual, then you can assign that into your profile. So let's go toggle over to the PTO tracking add-on to show you where you can set up these codes and also the accruals. So this is the PTO tracking add-on configuration. As you can see in here, you can set a default PTO time code based off of your available time codes that have been demarcated as PTO time codes. If I go over here to manage time codes, it's going to take you to all of your time codes in your system. And it's on this place that you can actually denote any of your time codes to be affected towards PTO. So you'll see holiday is marked yes, and vacation PTO is yes. So it's in this spot that I can actually specify the PTO, the time codes to be for PTO use. So this checkbox essentially aligns the time entries to be created from the PTO entries and vice versa, so they will always be updated together. And this will also adjust your work schedule or capacity based off of those entries. You can also allow timesheet approvers to edit PTO or work schedules. So if someone is your timesheet approver, then they can edit your PTO or work schedules based off of that. And this is going to enable the automated PTO accrual calculation. So if you don't want to accrue any PTO in your use of the tool, you can actually uncheck this, and it won't show anywhere. You can also specify the day of the month, which is day of hire in the month, which is the only setting right now. The default hours accrued per month, so you can set how many hours each person should be accruing per month, and then you can adjust that to be increased after a certain amount of years. So if the person started at more than 2 years ago, then they could start accruing 9 hours per month. More than 4 years ago, and they'll start accruing 11. PI has also introduced an alternate PTO rate schedules, so you can add an alternate schedule so that someone can start accruing at a different rate at a different um, schedule than this default accrual rate. So if I click on that, it's actually going to take me to another spot that I can um, start a different rate than another. So if you look at the manager's accrual, you can see they're actually accruing 10 hours a month and a higher rate rather than the default rate. Again, if you're not using the accruals, you could just uncheck this and you won't see any of that in the interface. You can also set the PTO hours maximum carryover, so that will limit how many hours someone can carry over from a previous year. And down here, you can actually specify personal day to be affiliated to a certain time code compared to a floating holiday to be specified to another time code. If you're only using one, you can only choose one. So you have the option of choosing both of them if you like. And then you can specify how many accrued hours per year are given for each of these. So now that we've gone through that, I'm going to go back over to my profile, PTO calendar. So you'll see that no matter how many days I keep entering here, it's always going to be updated 8:30 with 7 hours. If I also go to the time home, I can also update and keep these time entries and PTO entries updated here. So if I come down to the very bottom, you do have to have time entries enabled for the company in order to use this. So if you um, have whichever company you have assigned in your profile to yourself, so if you work for a fantastic firm, then you have to have them added to this company down here, and you can actually start adding the time here. So today is the 22nd, Monday. So if I'm going to take today's PTO, I'm going to put 7 hours in. So any time entries that you put on the time entry grid to the company that is in your profile, you can go ahead and assign. So if I put 7 hours in here for today, which is the 22nd, I can put a description in, and that time that you put in on your time entry grid using that time code, vacation, PTO, or holiday, then now, as long as you have those time codes marked yes for company and yes for PTO, then now if we go back up to my PTO calendar, you can see Monday the 22nd was now added as a PTO day. If I go to the details here, you'll see Monday the 22nd was added as vacation, and there's those 7 hours. So no matter where you enter the time, whether it's a time entry using that time code or a PTO calendar generated here, they all sync together based off of the time codes that you've entered in and also the um, PTO tracking settings in that add-on. So the PTO details is your home for this. And again, you can actually accrue if you put in the hire date and also your PTO accrual start date. Maybe that's 1/1/2020 when you want PTO to start accruing. You can choose it to be the default or that special accrual rate. I'm just going to do the default. And now that's going to start accruing. All the accrual entries will appear in green, and you can see how much you've accrued and then the balance based off of ones you've taken off of it. So they'll go all the way back to when you first started the accrual, which is on that 1/1/2020 date. And then you can see these are the accruals that you've entered in. You can see the 32 for vacation, and then you can see they start adding up one after the other. And if, of course, if they get unused, then they get taken off too based off of the rules that you set in your PTO tracking. So from here, you can always see what your PTO balance is, and you can also see it from your time home. So that's an overview of the PTO tracking. PI is currently working on improving it and making it better. So if you see anything that would make the tool improved, we'd love to hear. And for now, these are the features that we've got for the add-on.